Have you ever walked around your house? Maybe you're getting ready for work. Maybe you're just doing the dishes or setting the table, and you look around and you wonder, how did I get here? Not with regret, not with disappointment, but with confusion. This life that I am living doesn't match up with how I see myself right now. I'm going to show you exactly what to do about it. I'm Sara Jane. I'm 60 years old. I'm a school principal. And this happened to me about 3 years ago. I was pushing that button on the coffee machine and I looked around. It was 5:30 in the morning, getting ready for work. And I'm thinking, is this really the life that I want to keep living? It doesn't match up with who I see myself as. It wasn't a breakdown. It wasn't a crisis of confidence. It was a moment that sent me a real sign, a sign that I've outgrown my container. You have outgrown your container when the life you're living doesn't connect with who you are inside. That's a little bit of cognitive dissonance, if you will. So, time to change the container. I'm going to help. I'm going to provide you with a framework and a process that I think will help sort of create integration between who you are now and the life that you're living now. You're not lost. You're just reframing. This happens is over time, we all change. We all develop different opinions about things. We let some things go. We hold on to other things. And it's really about identity drift. Slowly over time, our identity drifts away from the current life we're living. I don't know about you, but throughout my years, I've noticed I will see my face and myself as exactly the same. And then there'll be this day where I'll look in the mirror and I'll go, whoa, I've really aged. And I didn't see the process of it happening, but boy, is it smack in my face. And that's identity drift. It's sort of like how you see yourself in the mirror and then how you see your life, and they don't connect. Mismatch creates disorientation, and that results in us being here, ready to recalibrate. Sometimes with this identity drift, it can be about how we envisioned our life at a particular stage. And then when we get there, maybe our life doesn't represent, it doesn't look the way we wanted it to look. We don't look the way we wanted to look. Things that we thought we would have in our lives, we don't, or now we have things in our lives that we had no idea we would have. All of that can be part of that identity drift. And some of that can feel like you have this phantom life, this life that, the place where we lose some of our dreams. I mean, I've been married 3 times. I didn't go into each one of those marriages thinking, well, I'll get a divorce and then at 60, I'll be single. That wasn't the plan, right? And so there can be a little grieving potentially in your situation. By the way, I'm fine being single. But there can be that sort of component of this, this phantom life that just sort of sits in the background. And so what we want to do is really recalibrate ourselves around who we are now and what we want our life to look like, and then get it there. So the first step is to go through these 4 questions. So the very first question is, what still fits? So as an example, in my life, I have china that will seat 18. I have a dining room table that will seat 18. And I don't imagine I'm going to have those kinds of large events. And if I do, I don't think I want to keep holding on to those things. I think I can rent a table. I can rent a couple tables. I can rent 20 tables if I need them. But things like that, where you have these sort of things left over from before. And so when I think about what fits, the small round table that I recently purchased, that fits. It seats 2 to 5 people probably, and that's perfect for my current life. So what still fits? For me, having coffee in bed every morning still fits. That's something I'm going to hold on to. So think for yourself, what are those things that still fit in your life and that feel very integrated into who you are? That's question one. What still fits? Another component to question one that I think can be helpful as an exercise is to make a T-chart. That's the teacher in me. Make a T-chart. And on one side, write what energizes me. And on the other side, write what drains me. Think about the things in your life that energize you and the things that drain you. And that is going to give you some really good clues into what makes sense to have in your life and what makes sense to maybe let go of. It's really about what makes me feel like myself. So when you're making that list of what energizes me and what drains me, that's really the bottom line is what of these things make me feel most like myself. Question two, what did I build for someone else? There are so many things that I have created over the years, and I'm sure you have too, whether you've been married or are married, or you have kids, you have grandkids. There are all these things that we build, these constructs, these ways of living. Look at your appointment calendar. Look at your diary or your journal. Look back over what you've been doing the last year and examine it for what are the things that I'm really building or have built for someone else, and what are those things that I've built for me. So pay attention to that as well. Question three, what wants to emerge? This is where we listen to those quiet whispers. We listen to ourselves and those little dreams. So for me, I love being in the Pacific Northwest, and I love being near the Sound, the Salish Sea up here in Washington. It's lovely. And that is something that I don't see going away. That's something that I want to have in my life. It's a little thing, right? But it's also a big thing. So think about the little whispers that you get. In the back of my mind, I'd love to open a bookstore someday, right? That's something that I would love in my second season. So think about those things that are most important to you. What are you hungry for? That maybe you keep denying yourself, but it keeps showing up as something you really need to add into your life. Question four. What's the smallest, best, next true thing that you can do? Emily Freeman, she's a writer. She's written, some self-help stuff, and one of her books is called The Next Right Thing. And I think about that a lot, that term, the next right thing. What is the next right thing to do? My third husband said quite often, Sarah, you need to eat the elephant one bite at a time. That makes sense to me, right? Nobody wants to eat a whole elephant, but we can do just about anything one bite at a time. Another way that this plays out, another example is AA with one day at a time, sometimes one moment at a time, right? So think about what's the next smallest, truest thing that you can do for yourself and focus on that. It might be that you block out a little time this week to write your what energizes me, what drains me list. It might be that you clean out a closet and get rid of clothes that were meant for a different version of you. It might be that you just take time for yourself to reflect and listen to those quiet whispers. So transition space, being in between two places. I mean, we've got that word purgatory, right? It doesn't have to be purgatory for us being in these two spaces. But take time to slowly transition into what you want it to look like. This is about becoming. This is about being in alignment. This is about getting rid of cognitive dissonance, right? Feeling integrated. I'm using a lot of sort of self-help terms, but they all kind of apply in this, in having the inside you reflected on the outside you in the things that you do and the spaces that you live and how you work and all of that. This is not about starting over. This is about becoming yourself. Let's review those 4 questions. What still fits? What energizes me? What drains me? What did I build for someone else or some other version of myself? Question 3. What wants to emerge? Listening to those quiet whispers. And question 4. What is the next smallest, truest, and best thing I can do to get this going for myself and to become more aligned? So we talked about identity drift. We talked about this container not being able to really hold us anymore because it doesn't accurately reflect who we are. So this work it's not really excavation. I mean, to a certain extent, it's excavation, but it is not reinvention. This is not, creating a new you. This is about looking at who you are and then building that container to support you, that life, the way that you live your days, that it actually aligns with who you are. So it's fully integrating life and self, inside and outside. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really looking forward to our time together next week. We're going to dig into this a little bit more, and I've got lots of fun things in store. Thank you again, and please consider subscribing.